So, as you know, over the last 10 years, we've seen some of the most racially divisive actions being going on. The National Party's engaged in divisive policies and laws. The Labour Party brutally has. The Te Pāti Māori have gone in their extremist views, hardcore about ripping races apart and tried to set different races against each other. Auckland University, no stranger to the scene as well. I'm sure you remember this little ditty here. This is, of course, where they basically tried to segregate races, as if we, as Māori, as Pacifica, as if we can't handle somehow being amongst other people. I found this extraordinarily racist and disgusting, and we, of course, made our voice heard, and thankfully the Auckland University stepped down from that. Well, it looks like that they're back at it again, and this time it's quite extreme. It's very much stronger now. You can now go for a whiteness in the settler state. That's right. It is absolutely teaching racism, how to think like a racist, how to be a racist effectively. Whiteness in the settler state. What's really interesting is that this is an imported style of ideology. The theories of this come very strongly from the US as a mainstream, especially from that leftist environment. It does also have underpinnings over in Europe. So this idea about race being seen as a negative trait, which is effectively racism, and now of course the third year students are going to be able to learn this. They're going to have to pay for it, and don't forget that as a taxpayer, you also partially support this, because of course a lot of our money, or a lot of the university income, comes from the taxpayer dollar. Hey, so you are helping to teach racism to people who are paying for it themselves, as well as you paying for it. And not only on top of that, they want you to look at white people as bad, or if you happen to be white, looking at yourself as bad. It really is quite extraordinary. So I thought we'd have a real quick deep dive into this and just have a look at what is there. Well, we've got our course overview. This course uses anthropology as a core discipline to examine whiteness as a social construct within the framework of settler colonial countries, of which Aotearoa, New Zealand, is one. Whiteness, again, very racist term as far as I'm concerned. Whiteness plays a pivotal role in construction of kinship, identity, and power relations, both within communities and local and international sphere in the post-colonial world, whatever post-colonial means. Using anthropology and anthropological theories as frameworks, so you have to do what your lecturers tell you to think. This course will draw on literature from New Zealand, Australia, the United States, and Canada to interrogate the construction of whiteness. New Zealand, Australia, Canada, and the US. These are nations which are very well known to have been captured by the ideological left, and they are very strong in pushing all of the Marxist intersectional ideology. Which are words that 10 years ago we wouldn't have really cared about. But of course now it invades into different echelons of society, which is why you have males in female bathrooms and female sportsy ripping records to pieces. This is also why you have reparations being tried to be foisted upon people. This is also why your 5, 6, 7-year-old child is deemed to be Māori, Pākehā, or Taui. That is foreigner. You could be a Chinese person whose family came over in the 1860s during the gold rush era, 1860s, and your child will still be considered a tawiwi, a foreigner. It's, again, really disgusting stuff. So, having a further look here as well, the course prescription here examines the concept and construct of whiteness within the construct of the settler state. What is the settler state? What is the settler state? Through the lens of critical anthropology, here again, what they want you to think. Explores the development of white supremacy as an ideology and an expression of social and political power, and provides students with the conceptual and intellectual frameworks to consider the invisibility of whiteness as a social habit. Let me say that last part again. The conceptual and intellectual frameworks to consider the invisibility of whiteness as a social habit. So what they're saying is white supremacy cannot be seen, cannot be touched, heard, or anything like that, but instead it's could be invisible. This is where you come into that multiple times debunked nonsense known as implicit association, or otherwise known as unconscious bias. It's a boogeyman of a boogeyman, because you're chasing a dream, and somehow the only ones who can tell you that you're racist are the lecturers, are the academics, those who have the power over your child when they are in university, or yourself if you happen to be in university. It's fascinating to see how they seek to push these thought processes on you. This is why you'll find that many memes are out there showing how young people are going into university as well-thinking individuals who've got their own sets of values and beliefs and desiring to do right for the world, to do the best in the world, and they come out the other end as effectively extremist radical ideologues. What used to be a bastion of free speech, the collision of different ideas, has now become an ideological machine of manufacture, bringing young people in who've got their own thoughts, own minds, and then coming out with acolytes of leftist ideology. This area here, this course is for stage 3 students only, and students are advised that they may find course material challenging and that they may be asked to engage in significant self-reflection in order to engage properly with the academic word. Again, to engage in significant self-reflection in order to engage properly with the academic work. It's really scary stuff, because I found this little ditty here for you. So I was looking for some justification as to why level 3 rather than level 1. And here, this was quite interesting. I found this when I was looking up cult elements and the idea of indoctrination. Psychologically, by year 3, cognitive dissonance is reduced. People justify their commitment to avoid the pain of questioning it. Social bonds within the group are strong, and fear of ostracism keeps them in line. So fear of being the odd one out, that after 3 years of having the lecturers inculcate the students with what they want the students to be thoroughly inculcated with, they don't want to rock the boat. No, let's not rock the boats. Let's not be the odd one out. The process isn't always formal. It can happen subtly in environments like schools, workplaces, or online echo chambers, though the timeline varies. So that's one little example as to why such a what I would consider an extremely racist-based course is going to be in stage 3, because year 1, it might be that you're still in the mode of thinking for yourself, your bonds, your thought process is strong, your value system is still strong, so it might take about 3 years to break those down in order to replace it with the compromised academics approach to life. And it also is really interesting because academics, they don't tend to live in the real world. What I mean by that is most of us, we wake up, we go to work, and we got to hustle for that money, and so every dollar that we work, we're working overtime, swing shifts, late shifts. If we've got an extra hustle on the side that we can engage in, we'll do it. Whereas a lot of your academics, they live in the world of theory, of ink on paper. They're not really out there in the world doing things. It's extraordinary to see how the academics go when they have to enter real life, because they don't handle it very well. They really don't. What they love to be is in front of impressionable young minds who are looking at them or looking down at them, depending on your university structure, and they love to have that theory. It's really interesting that I've almost never had a one-on-one debate with a university academic. It's almost never happened. I think the only time has been Professor Paul Spoonley in the Wellington University. That's the only time I think I'll be able to get someone to be able to have a debate with me. It's really interesting. I think that they feel that, or they might be aware that their theoretical knowledge doesn't fit anything once they get out into the real world. That's my suspicion, but I'm not sure. We've got to have a few more debates beyond it. So again, for any university professor out there, all I am is just someone who worked a lot in youth work and worked in Southside and South Auckland. That's the majority of where I come from. Nothing special, but I'm more than happy to have a good kōrero, big strong discussion about the issues. I whittle to you. Please have some spine and come to it. I think it's great to have a discussion on these things. don't worry, I'm not mean. But it's just interesting that the theory doesn't seem to work when they bring it out into reality. It's like socialism or Marxism. It looks nice on paper, but it's never worked in the entirety of human history when it hits reality. And I think that's the difference between university and the world. So carrying on, having a little look here. The course draws substantially from work within anthropology, but also outside, which could include work such as that of Ahmed, Fanon, Hooks, Kendi, Lee Morgan, Lord, Meiji, Oluo, Ormond, Pihama, Smith, and others. Now, I had a look at these names. And they tend to be, if I'm to look at a bit of a pattern, those names of those other works be used very much intersectional, and I believe half of them are avowed Marxist or avowed communist or avowed socialist, so one of the three. So they very much strongly about trans, LGBTQIP plus activities. They are very much far to the left on the spectrum, so you won't get any of the more reasonable, more moderate sort of anthropologists that you can find out there. They very much are very radicalized, and so if you have a look at those names, that's what you sort of see there. What you're looking at here, this course is a shocking course. It really is. I mean, look at that again. The topic itself, whiteness in the settler state. So this is one where your children or yourself, if you're going to go through it, you're going to have to think like a racist, and effectively this is what this is doing. It's extraordinary to me that we have a university that engages in segregation of races, that engages in courses that teach you how to think like a racist. We've got good people who've been sending stuff to my team and I, who are wanting to expose us to the public, because you yourself may not be aware that these sort of racist courses are out there. They are pushing students to think like a racist, to be a racist. And we've already seen that in our government structures, in our education system. I love our maxim. I love the words of Hobson himself. He iwi tahi tātou means that we are all one people, one nation, one future, together.